Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Peter Lou, Real Wheel Deal, and today we're doing a deep dive on VOLK Racing's newest wheel that just came out, the VOLK Racing 21A. Pretty much their latest, newest release wheel available. So before we get started, I had to start here at home because I had to go to the Real Wheel Deal archives and museum to pull out a really significant piece. So right here, I have with me a VOLK mesh. This is actually VOLK's very first wheel. And what's crazy about the one I have in my hand here is this is brand new old stock. This has never been mounted, never been refinished. This is the original, very first VOLK mesh that they ever produced. And what's also crazy is this has a lot of heritage to do with the VOLK Racing 21A that we're reviewing today. So I'm gonna take this guy back with me to the shop where the 21A is, and I'm gonna show you how this wheel led to the current VOLK Racing 21A. So in 1975, this wheel was released, and this is VOLK's first wheel. And what they did was they had a magnesium center, but they had a forged 6061 lip and barrel. So this wheel was already starting to be in a forged lineup. So after that, in 1981, they had a record amount of sales and decided to move on to the next wheel. The next wheel they designed was called the VOLK Racing Group A, which I'm gonna put up here. You can see it's a huge resemblance, huge derivative of this original VOLK mesh wheel. So in 1986, that Group A wheel came out, and that was VOLK's like premier wheel. It was fully forged, and they used all the newest technologies. This cross mesh design, this is what VOLK is saying that they were going to use going forward for all their wheels. So actually this wheel and the Group A wheel have deep heritage in VOLK's forging history, the original wheel of their name. So that's why when you kind of look at the 21A, you think of VOLK, you think of a T37 or a wheel with thicker spokes. But actually when I look at the 21A, that wheel is actually like the true embodiment of the history of VOLK Racing. So now we're going to do a deep dive on this wheel. It was introduced in 2022 at Tokyo Auto Salon, and this wheel followed in the footsteps of the 21C. So if you saw my other video, it was about the VOLK Racing 21C, which was based off of their old Group C wheel. Well, this one, using the same style of technology, they made the 21A derived from the original Group A wheel, which was derived from this original VOLK mesh. But the 21, that stands for VOLK's 21st century foray in their new design language and their new wheels. So the biggest thing about this wheel, it captures people's eyes because it looks so different than VOLK's other wheels. All of VOLK's other wheels, heavier spokes, but for this one to have it mesh like this is really unique in VOLK's lineup. They haven't done it for a while. I think they did like a SC37 you might have seen, RE30, C345, those are kind of more mesh wheels, but as of right now, they don't really have one until this came out. But this one is very unique. Ray's really pushed the boundaries. So Ray and VOLK made some new technologies because they wanted to make a single piece wheel that could have a deep lish and dip like this, but also still be one piece in monoblock forge. So kind of like a T37V Mark II you might have seen. So 21C and 21A, there's new technologies in here that allow them to do this. And honestly, looking at this wheel, I really like it because they're starting to put out these new wheels, which are kind of like, I call all-encompassing wheels. So they're mold forged monoblock, super strong one-piece wheels to get exceptional weight savings because it's forged exceptional strength. This is because they use these new forging technologies to get this lip and barrel wider. It gives you the illusion and the look of a 2 or 3 piece wheel, which some people really crave. And if you kind of look at history of motorsports, when 2 3-piece wheels were being used in competition, that kind of look is what we kind of think of when we think of like racing cars normally. So to get this deep in single piece without being like a fully fledged race car, but as a street car, this is a really unique look. Being a VOLK wheel, of course, is die forged or mold form forged single piece, and are all forged in Japan by Rays. So that's a bit of information that you should know. So color wise, it's available in 2 colors. The first one is a gunmetal with a machine lip. So I'll put a picture of it right here. You can see it. Just emphasize like a 2-3 piece kind of look. The second color we have is this bronze anodized. So this one's using VOLK's traditional anodized color. So I look on the side, you can see there's some dots here. This is from the anodization process. And of course, in the front here, we have our dimpled spokes here, and the edge of lip, we got this brushed bronze alumite, kind of this nice flat bronze finish. So that's VOLK's special anodized finish, which is pretty much the lightest finish VOLK can produce. So currently this wheel is only available in 18-inch when it was debuted, and I anticipate other sizes coming up because that's what they sometimes do. But as of right now, it's only available at 18, and width-wise, it starts at 8.5, which is pretty wide, goes all the way up to a monster 12-inch wide wheel. So that's gonna be immense weight savings for a wheel that wide at 12-inch, being a forged monoblock and having this lip. So looking at faces, this wheel comes in 3 faces: face 1, face 2, phase 3. I'm gonna put some pictures up here for you. Phase 1 being kind of the most flat one, and it goes a little bit deeper and deeper, 2 and 3. And it comes in 5 lip sizes. So we have small, medium, large, double L, triple L. So I'll put some pictures of the lips here. The one I have here is 18 by 10.5 with a plus 15 offset. So this is great because I kind of have both. I have the median face, this is the phase 2, but I also have the median lip. So this is the L lip. So you can see already at the median L lip, we got a really nice lip there. You can see depending on the offset and the vehicle it's for, your wheel is going to be a combination of the faces and lips to kind of maximize the offset of what it's going to be for that car. So whatever offset you're at, they kind of choose the best lip and face design to kind of get you the best look you can with the wheel. One thing you gotta be cognizant about when you're running this wheel or purchasing this wheel is the brake clearance. So because it emulates a 2-3 piece wheel design, this face is really sunken in. So that means not very much brake clearance if your car's a very high offset vehicle. So I may see like if your car can only do like plus 40 or higher for offset, what ends up happening is we look at the side of this wheel, because the face is kind of running more into the inside of the wheel. If your offset is very high, you're not gonna have much space for the brake here. You can also see the drop center and where the face connects. It's kind of deeper in than, you know, something we see from like a TE or a CE that doesn't have this kind of deep dish design. So I just want you to know that if you're gonna purchase this wheel and you have big brakes and you have a high offset vehicle, make sure you triple check it. You have a low offset vehicle with a big brake or running a wide body, then you have enough width to kind of push that wheel out. So it's just something to be aware of, like this wheel. Same with the 21C that I reviewed earlier. So now we finished talking about the specs. We're gonna do a deep dive into the wheel. So right away, you can see it's got a mesh design. Like I said, really derived from the history of VOLK racing. Lots of mesh wheels on the market, but there's a couple of things special about this one. One that I like is that it starts off as not really mesh. It's kind of like a 10 spoke split. So it starts with 10 spokes that split out to 20. These spokes are very thin when you get to the end here, but you can see they kind of like emulate a lot of strength, and also the thickness is very good too. So it's a very strong wheel. And one thing I like about the spokes is kind of a double facet. So you see there's like a slight line here where they kind of come out, and then right away it changes direction and it goes back in. So they didn't make it curved. They made it so you can see there was a distinct line there, which is the design they chose to make this wheel like a multi-step wheel. So you kind of have a circle here, circle here, circle here, and then the lips aren't super smooth. They have different variety of lips. So it's just kind of like many conicals kind of branching in and out. And that gives the wheel kind of like a really good depth, I find. Another thing about the face is one thing that VOLK has had for design language the last 10 years, this cup here. So they kind of have this deep cut, which they say kind of emphasizes speed. And also because they've cut all of the material here, it really increases the lightness and weight savings of the wheel. Here they kind of have this edge cutting, similar to ZE40 or something I've seen, where they part of the lug holes cut into the edge of the cup, which is nice. And this 45-degree angle cut here that they kind of have in the cup as well. That's something that I think they've learned from doing like the T37 Ultra, ZE40. So pretty much VOLK's design language also consistent with this. And of course we have VOLK's AMT cutting, made in Japan, the JWL-VIA certification, Ray's Engineering, and Ford. So that's Ray's AMT cutting technology that they also use for the spokes of their other wheels. Next thing we're gonna dive into is the uniqueness of this wheel is that it makes it look like a 2-3 piece wheel being in one piece. And what helps with that is this deep cutting here inwards, and I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but it actually separates the face and the barrel or lip, I guess, in this case. And it goes from dimpled to smooth. On the other color, which is the gunmetal with a polished lip, it definitely, like the color also helps to make that distinction. But this cut really gives you that feel that it's, you know, a 2 or 3 piece wheel. Normally when you say 2-3 piece wheel, you see the rivets, right? Well, this line kind of like mimics the idea of rivets in my mind, that there is a difference there. So there's something extra when you look at the wheel that tells you this wheel is not a 1-piece wheel. And I think they're trying to make you feel like that with this lip. And of course, what we gotta talk about is the lip here. This lip is a very special lip. I told you they use a lot of technology to forge this special lip. One thing I like about lip, it's like kind of like a double step. It keeps the same lip design that all the other VOLKs have. So you have your first inner dish lip here, second dish lip here, but this lip here, this is classic VOLK here. This is what I've been seeing on their wheels for over a decade. They have this really thin lip here, but in the back here, the flange is very thick. So the thinness is up here for weight savings, but the thickness is here to support the tire. With that, we're gonna kind of go into the side profile, and you're gonna see like classic VOLK wheels, 2 very thick flanges, but they also have their inner flange to hold the tire on the inside. One thing this wheel does not have is the tire knurling, which the 21C also does not have, because that would kind of add possibly extra weight. They can't thin this area too much if they cut it. So this wheel, because it's more like a show and performance wheel and like a heritage style wheel, they don't have that knurling in there. The other thing is on the back, we don't really have any specific details back here. You just have your hub. You can see it's very smooth back here. The finish is nice as expected from VOLK. They've painted many surfaces. What I like is the hub here. It's also the hub's anodized to be smooth. So, you know, just minimize corrosion and stuff in the back for when you're mounting it on the wheel of the hub. You can see some of your back of your hubs on your wheels that you use. They get kind of crusty, kind of rusty. Inside of here, they also have the machining. So this machining is good. You know, you can fit spacers. You can also have a little bit of weight savings if you're not running spacers. And other than that, on the back, we have our classic stickers. So we have our Ray's official sticker. This is forged 2022, so brand new wheel, forged 1028, VOLK Racing 21A, and of course we have our JWL sticker, but this is JWL plus R Spec 2 raised, so raised higher standard of JWL. And of course we have our Jawa sticker here, so make sure we have all those in there and make sure they're intact when you get your wheel. So that's kind of it for a deep dive of our wheel. All right, so last thing we gotta do, of course, get this guy on a scale. Let's get to it. All right, so this guy's 18 by 10 and a half plus 15. So we're gonna see on there, what's it say? 21.4 pounds. So that's exceptionally light for an 18 by 10 and a half inch wide wheel, especially with lip, especially with a 2-piece or 3-piece style look. I think this is definitely much lighter than any 2 or 3-piece wheel you can get, for sure. I was gonna put my super old VOLK on there just for shits and giggles. 10.8 pounds. It's pretty good for a 13 by 5 3/4 wide. All right, so that concludes our VOLK Racing 21A deep dive review. I hope you enjoyed seeing this wheel. This is a very exciting wheel for me. And what I like is, you know, it's actually the 50th anniversary of Rays. So they've been promoting that, pushing that. And this wheel, I would say, kind of is released to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Rays. And that makes perfect sense to me because that wheel 50 years ago was kind of start of VOLK. And now for them to bring a brand new design back that pays homage and kind of represents VOLK from day one is like a perfect setting, you know? It's just harmony. So I really like this wheel. If you guys enjoyed watching the video, you enjoyed learning a little bit of history, you know, give me a thumbs up, comment below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribing. You know, I've been making these wheel videos for quite a while, so I want to keep making new content for you guys. So keep sending the love, and we'll catch you guys next time, okay? Thanks.